Hello and welcome to round 3 of the 2020 Formula Virtual World Championship here from Melbourne, Australia. My name's Bradley Downton. I'm joined today by Lilly Westwood.
Good day, me fellow shrimps on barbies.
And Robert Mathshaw down in the pit lane.
Good afternoon.
Today then, the drivers will be tackling 58 laps of this 5.303 kilometre circuit. Elroy Wagner holds the lap record set back in 2015 when he also won the race, but it was Enrique Ruiz who won here last year for Franklin. Can he repeat that this season, but for Mathshaw? Let's take a look through the grid then, and well, he's in the best position. Ruiz lines up on pole position for the 5th time here in Australia for Mathshaw. It's their 4th pole here in 5 years. He's got his teammate alongside him as they had in Japan. Ruiz on the extra soft tyres, the only driver to do so. Simon alongside on the softs. Behind them we've got the two Downtons, Powers in 3rd on the hards, Klaas van Snelheid starts from 4th on the mediums. 4 different compounds in the top 4 spots on the grid. It'll be really interesting to see how that one goes and what works out the best strategy here in Australia today. Perez and Hunter Ryan line up together on row 3. Both of those guys are on the mediums. Most of the drivers on the medium on the hard tyres. Will highlight any exceptions. Will Hoskins goes from 7th in the second of the first cards. Alar Kanga on the hards, a notable one to keep an eye on there in the first of the Lopez's behind Zveranas. And do not adjust your sets, you are seeing an AMR in 10th on the grid. That is Dmitro Kovalenko with an absolutely stellar effort in qualifying to round out the top 10. Both of those guys are on the soft tyres. Behind them we've got Jean Matson and Elroy Wagner lining up on the medium and the hard tyres respectively. Ingram there hoping for a decent result. Johan Halverson will go from 13th in the lead of the North Star cars. I'm sure they were hoping for a little bit better. Maybe they can pick up points today. He has James Vazquez alongside him on row 7. Sergio Alvarez is the first of the Phoenixes in 15th. Gabriele Garcia lines up alongside on row 8. The Brazilian going from 16th today. Just behind them we've got Puccio Giordano and Carl Beckenbauer, the two Westwoods locking out row 9, also splitting their strategies like many in the field today. What will be better, the hard, the medium, maybe the softs or the extra softs like the pole sitter Ruiz, the only driver on them. Rounding out the top 20 we've got Marcus Thunder on the mediums, Gianni Ledesma on the hard tyres in the first of the Meteors, out qualifying Felix Bayer once again. Bayer though lines up right behind him on the same tyre compound. Yakumi Takahashi, the Japanese driver, makes his first start in Formula Virtual, and Arrows as well. They go from 22nd. Thierry Zylander was disappointed with qualifying, so was his team boss. He goes from 23rd, just ahead of Carson Davenport, both on the hard tyres. And at the back of the grid we've got the two Franklins bringing it up then. Enzo Dominicali ahead of Nick Addison, both starting on the mediums. So as we go down to the grid then, it's Enrique Ruiz in pole position. His teammate Adrian Simon lines up alongside him on the front row. The lights go out now then, we're racing in Melbourne. Enrique Ruiz looks as though he's got off the line absolutely phenomenally. Nathaniel Powers potentially challenging Adrian Simon for second, but no, not as they come into turn 1. There's Enrique Ruiz away like a scolded cat then. He's already got 6-7 car lengths on his teammate as they come through turn 2. Simon behind from Powers. Perez has jumped past Klaas van Snelheid. Will Hoskins up to 6th ahead of Hunter Ryan. Ryan trying to get back around at turn 3 as Hoskins looks at Klaas van Snelheid, but nothing doing then as Enrique Ruiz is absolutely up the road.
Yeah, and what a terrible start there from Ryan, the homeboy, having a dismal beginning to this V-Prix. And was a bit of a moment there from Alvarez on the exit of turn 6. But Ruiz, what a lightning start. It looked like he just judged the lights perfectly and he was away from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, admittedly, he is on the extra soft tyres and the only car to be so, while everyone behind him is on a far harder compound, as that looks like Marcus Thunder trying to make a move on James Vazquez, but nothing doing there. Can't quite get that one stuck. But yeah, Ruiz up front, absolutely flying away. He's already got 2 seconds on his teammate, who in turn has got about 1.5 to Powers behind.
As Beckenbauer just pulled off a phenomenal overtake around the outside of Alvarez there, and he's taken 14th place.
Yeah, great move there from Beckenbauer then on the opening lap, as Felix Perez is hounding Nathaniel Powers. He's already done one Downton and will be desperate to get past the other to make those medium tyres work.
Yeah, as Kovalenko is piling the pressure on John Matson. Matson got the advantage early on, but Kovalenko on those softer tyres is bound to be quicker in this early stage of the race.
But he's in an AMR, so no, he won't be.
Oh, Bradley, just let me have my fun. You always gaslight me.
Well, like soz.
Make me cry. Oh, so we've got the two Meteors going.
Oh, and round goes Gianni Ledesma then. that is at
Yikes.
turn 2, and Ledesma is rounding into the wall. I think he just kind of, it was a sideways hit on the wall, so I think he might have just got away with that one, but he has dropped all the way to the back then.
Yeah, they might be just a little bit cautious of perhaps any gearbox damage. But Rob, have you got any info on us? On us? I hope not. Any info on that crash for
He
us?
has plenty on us, but he's not going to share any of it, I hope.
The Meteor boys look pretty calm about that. His race engineer, I think, is just telling him keep it calm, keep it collected. I don't think there's any damage on the car, but I'm sure it'll be reported back in a couple of laps' time.
Alright, cheers for that, Rob.
Oh, here we go then. On board then with Ledesma into turn 1, and it was a move on his teammate, and he just caught too much curb on the inside, and actually he has lost a bit of his front wing there, so it wasn't quite a side impact with the wall. He did go in slightly front end forwards. Very lucky there not to take any further damage to the front left. As Enrique Ruiz now 3 seconds clear then of Adrian Simon, who in turn has 3.5 back to Nathaniel Powers in third. We're 2 laps into this race, and they're 6 seconds clear already, Ruiz's, of the first non-Mattershore car. Absolutely ridiculous. As behind them there's a bit of a train now forming behind Dominicas Viranas, who has got past his teammate Hunter Ryan.
Ooh, yeah, so we must have missed that somewhere.
Yeah, and that is not good at all for Hunter Ryan. Although he is on the mediums, isn't he, whereas Viranas is on the softs. But the fact that Viranas is holding these guys up is that's not particularly promising.
No, I think I forgot what I was going to say, I'm not going to lie. I got distracted by a bird at my window. I'm such an idiot.
That's right, as long as he doesn't find his way onto the track.
Well, I remember when Bruno Senna hit a dog on track. What a horrible thing to remember.
Crikey, that was
Anyway.
GP2.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
That's right, when
this,
Anthony Davidson in Canada hit a groundhog and lost a podium for Super Aguri.
I didn't know he did that. That wasn't very clever.
It
The
wasn't
groundhog.
intentional.
As we got this snake of 4 cars coming around the final corner then.
Yeah, so Nathaniel Powers leading Perez, Klaas van Snelheid and Will Hoskins. And I believe Powers is the only one of them on the hard tyres, isn't he?
Yes, I believe the boys behind him are on the mediums.
Yeah, so it's working for Powers, not quite working for those behind him. As on screen there, we should probably bring this one up. Yakumi Takahashi, the Japanese star then, he's finally made it into his first race at his 3rd attempt. Likewise, his Arrow team, this is the first time we see them actually racing in Formula Virtual. Takahashi actually not had too bad a start. He's up to 20th position and hounding Puccio Giordano in the Westwood.
Yeah, he's going to be quite frustrated, obviously. Giordano playing the long game on those hard tyres. Takahashi is going to be looking to get past as quick as possible. But I've got to say, that car does look very nice on track.
Yeah, I was thinking it is a good looking car, isn't it, the Arrow? I'm a big fan, personally.
Is it because they might have slightly had an inspired colour scheme?
It's not just because they're orange, although that does help.
It is a bonus.
Absolutely. But, I mean, obviously, Arrow being in this race is great for them. The issue will probably come from the fact that AMR have also made it. Obviously, they're the 2 teams that haven't managed to qualify at all yet in the opening 2 rounds. But Kovalenko did a slightly better job in qualifying, and somehow, to the complete shock of literally everyone in the paddock, put his AMR 10th on the grid. He's still holding on in 11th, and in fact there he is on screen. That was perfect, thank you, director.
Excellent timing. Look at that.
Yeah, Kovalenko still holding on really well, but he is on the soft tyres, let's not forget.
Yeah, so obviously that early pace advantage is going to rapidly start dropping off as all the guys, well, I think most if not all the guys around him are on mediums. As already he looks a bit squirmy on the exit of turn 6 there.
Yeah, absolutely, and well, I mean, the first guy we'll have into the pits will be Ruiz, but yeah, we'll be hopefully roughly able to gauge how long these tyres are going to go from that. But yeah, I think Kovalenko being, well, having started 10th and now running 11th, you know, and Takahashi being down in 20th, that could be, this could prove absolutely crucial to the Q1 battle as we near that, you know, round 5 where it will suddenly start changing up to current championship order.
Yeah, because obviously where points are looking very unlikely, as we all know, is settled by highest position, and yeah, what an absolute stonker of a result this would be.
Wouldn't it just? Yeah, Kovalenko then really going to have to try and put the effort in here then, but he's going to slip down the field. I don't think there's any question about that one. I think it's how well he can recover it, isn't it?
Yes, also that. I think I said the wrong thing.
Well, no,
these four are still keeping
right.
each other very honest. Although Hoskins is dropping off a little bit now.
Is he?
Only ever so slightly.
I think Zverinas almost looks as though he's coming back towards these guys a little bit as well now. There was definitely more of a gap there before.
Yeah, I think you could be right actually. I wonder if maybe Powers is starting to just hold up the squad a little bit.
I was going to say, and it almost seems as though he's taking everyone else with them, because you've got Zverinas there in picture as well as Ryan, and then just behind them, Kanga, Matson, Kovalenko. Who'd have ever thought Kovalenko would be in a train behind Nathaniel Powers?
Not me, Bradley.
Oh, meanwhile, Perez, sorry, Perez looks really, really close here then. I thought he might attempt a dive around the outside there, but apparently nothing doing.
No dice. Now, we had a bit of speculation before the V-Prix that this race could be largely dominated by tyre choice and tyre wear. Rob, you seem to have some information on it. Again, I've said it about the tyre strategies. Give us some spiel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that looking at the stop times, you're looking at around lap 9 or 10 for if it's going to be having consigned to a 5-stopper for Ruiz. But looking at the pit delta, it's just under 20 seconds, and even if Ruiz is going to have to make 4 or 5 stops, he's already making that kind of gap on 3rd position. So I think that the super soft in clear air is definitely doing wonders for Ruiz. It just remains to be seen whether or not he gets caught behind anyone during any point in the stint. Looking kind of the more to the soft, medium and hard tide runners, you're looking for a 3-stop being about lap 14 or 15, 2-stop lap 19 or 20, and then if the hard runners can go to halfway along the race, that's around lap 29. So this is going to be a big tyre dominated race, I think, because if the drivers on the softer compounds can't get past drivers on the harder compounds in a race that's on a track that's so difficult to overtake, then we could see some big upsets today. And I think that unfortunately for Kovalenko, the soft tyre probably isn't going to be the the tyre of choice for him today. But yeah, it's going to be a fascinating race to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, cheers for that, Rob. We're definitely going to be thrown down to you a lot if it's going to be tyre dominated then, eh?
Most definitely.
Okay. Thanks, Rob.
I thought I had, just jump in there.
Become Robert.
I have to say, I think, obviously Rob just mentioned Ruiz, potentially getting stuck behind people. I think at this rate, the only people that Ruiz is going to be stuck behind are back markers. He is so far clear already, it is absolutely ridiculous. He's pulling a second a teammate. A second a teammate?
That's
not right. A second a lap on his teammate alone, who's on the softs, and around 3 seconds a lap on Powers on the hards in 3rd place. He's going to have a pit stop within a couple of laps as it is.
Yeah, if he can just get this stint a few laps longer, then he's definitely going to have that gap that he needs. And while Simon obviously is definitely within that pit stop range, obviously on the softer tyre, he's naturally going to be a lot closer in terms of lap time delta.
Yes.
Which we see them just... Oh, I do love watching the long train of cars, Bradley. There's something just so satisfying about it,
There is.
Like seeing them snake around the course, like wibbly wobbly.
What that shows is that Zverinas has now caught Will Hoskins.
Definitely. And to the point where actually... Wait, is that Zverinas on softs?
Zverinas is on the softs, yes.
Ah, I see. To be fair, Ryan's done a very good job as well to stick with his teammate despite being one step harder.
He has. Meanwhile, slipping off the back of them slightly is Alar Kanga.
Yeah, the star man of the season opener. Had a bit of a rough weekend last time out. And he qualified pretty well, but he's had a bit of a slow start to this race. A bit of a slow burner for the Estonian.
I mean, to be fair, Kanga may not have had the best result last time out, but he had a phenomenal race. The amount of
He
times that
definitely
he got,
did. He drove very well.
you know, the amount of times that he ended up in a bad position through no fault of his own, incidents, accidents, you name it, but he still came through to finish, you know, in a strong points, a strong point. He got a point, but you know, I think it was more than a lot of us expected him to take from that race.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think after the incidents, he was just he was like written off basically, and I think in a way that's a mistake that the team's made because they saw him as a non-threat, and yeah, he just took complete advantage of that.
Yeah, he definitely did. As there we see him then with Jean Matron, Dmitry Kovalenko, Johan Halvorsen, Elroy Wagner, and Carl Beckenbauer right behind him. There's actually quite a train there forming behind Kanga, who, but let's not forget, he is on the hard tyres.
Yeah. How many of those drivers in that train are on the hard tyres though?
Pass. And I would check my graphic, but that would mean removing the race from my screen, and our telemetry is struggling enough as it is, so I'm not going to do that.
Yes, obviously everyone's watching their Yom Chom videos, and I forgot. I don't know why I said Yom Chom when it's clearly YouTube. Oh! I thought I saw a bird outside my window still, but I did not.
Brilliant. You're really getting distracted with those birds.
Honestly, yeah, while I'm waiting for my graphics to come back online, birdies be all I got though.
We've currently got Vasquez then. Oh, I thought he was going to dive up the inside of Alvarez there, but didn't quite. And Alvarez now really covering him off. That could give Vasquez a run round the outside as they come into the penultimate corner. No, Alvarez defending then. And this is all giving Gabriele Garcia and Marcus Thunder, who's sticking with these guys really well actually on the medium tyres. That's a stellar effort from the Brit so far.
Yeah, he's doing job. He's doing very well. As I realised saying he's doing job was not really very representative
I mean,
of
to
the
be fair,
task
he is doing his job. That's, you know.
Speak of someone doing their job, Enrique Ruiz, 21.5 seconds back to third place. Are you actually pulling my plonker? That's ridiculous! And it's going up.
It is, and we're only on lap 9. And in fact, there we see him then. There is the race-leading Brazilian. Can I just... what has he got? 9.5 seconds to Simon.
That's...
How many more laps do we reckon he can go?
Well, I think there's one man who we can ask about this.
Well, at the moment he's on for a 5-stop because he's now on lap 10, but it's only another couple of laps for a 4-stop, and then a couple of laps more to a 3-stop. So yeah, his pace still looks really good compared to the harder compound runners. So I think that I think there's still quite a bit of life left in these tyres. I wouldn't be surprised to see him coming in lap 14 or 15 to facilitate a 3-lap stop. At which point, I don't really think there's an awful lot that can stop him in this race.
Honestly, no, he's got that clear air.
I was just looking actually. I was just thinking he was taking about a second a lap out of Simon. That last lap, lap 10, was only half a second, so it looks as though maybe the pace has just dipped ever so slightly. But I mean, what I was looking at really was whether Ruiz could potentially be the first driver in what I believe is Formula Virtual history to complete a Grand Slam.
Oh, pole, flap and win.
And leading every lap.
Oh, Halvorsen around the outside of Kovalenko at turn 2 there, and he's taken 11th position off of the Ukrainian.
Yes, very good. Well done.
I sounded so stressed. I was so scared of getting it wrong. Oh, but yeah, fantastic move there. Very opportunistic from Halvorsen. Hoping we get a replay. But yeah, that puts Kovalenko back into the... Sorry.
Deco. Oh, you know, good old Donkey Kong.
I love Conky Dong. Also, Rob, don't make me laugh in the middle of saying things. It's not fair. So I just got a very rude message in my ear from our pit lane correspondent, and it was funny, but I'm not allowed to say it.
No, please don't. I don't even know what it is, but please don't.
I'll tell you after the race, Bradley.
I'm sure I'll see it after the race.
It involves a Winter Olympic sport. As we've got Kanga, he still looks like he's struggling to find any pace on those hard tyres. They just don't seem to be biting into the tarmac like, well, they're expecting. And he's
He's now
I don't know,
4
we're not really-
seconds behind Hunter Ryan.
And it's odd because a lot of the other hard tyres runners, we're not seeing them struggle this much.
Right,
Actually,
he's now 4 seconds behind Hunter Ryan, and he's not. It's not like Ryan's got clear air. Ryan's stuck in the train behind Nathaniel Powers, who's also on the hard tyres.
although I have also just had a message in my ear that brings up quite a good point. He is in fact only about 5 or 6 seconds back from Powers on the same tyre. After 12 laps, that's maybe half a second a lap. But still, I don't know. One to watch.
Oh, meanwhile, Powers looks as though he's broken away slightly, as Felix Perez is now under pressure from Klaas van Schnellheid.
Yeah, just wondering maybe because Perez was following Powers very closely there, and Klaas might have just been holding back a bit, conserving his tyres, keeping his engine cool, and waiting for a good moment like this, where Perez does not have that. What's the word I'm looking for?
Speed?
Draft.
Slipstream.
Yes, slipstream or draft, like a normal person.
Draft seems really American.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? Do you want to add a block
British.
of beef with you in the paddock?
No, I don't have a problem with the Americans, but we're British, so we speak British. No, oh God, no, we speak English.
I'm Australian.
You're not Australian.
Shrimps on Barbies, I'm pretty sure I'm Australian, mate.
You're not Australian. As Nathaniel Powers then continues to lead these guys as they start lap 13. Meanwhile, Enrique Ruiz is already like completed the first sector. It's
true.
It's ridiculous how far ahead he is.
He's just doing his own thing.
Ruiz isn't actually aware anyone else is in the race.
This is like, to be fair, this is like quite a dream race as a driver, really, isn't it? He just, he's got the softest tyre. He can just pound out some fast laps. As I regret my wording. He's got clear air in front, he's got clear air behind, he can just run his own race. In fact, it's getting to the point where if he's this rapid, he might end up tripping over his teammate in the second stint. Depends on how far those softs go. Yeah,
I think the issue here for Ruiz will be when he reaches the back of the field. But he... Wow.
We've got a pretty tasty scrap for 23rd there. Sorry, I just... saw down there's 4 drivers in a second of each other.
Yeah. What I was just Ruiz pits. There we go then.
There it is.
So end of lap 13.
Correct.
So that is a 4-stopper, I think, Rob.
That might just consigns into a 4-star. I'm sorry, at the moment my timing screen in front of me has completely gone kaput. I think the 4G around here is absolutely shocking.
Isn't it?
It was down to the 5G.
Yeah. Ruiz then rejoins. And in second place, some 7 seconds behind Adrian Simon, but comfortably 10 seconds clear of Nathaniel Powers. Those extra softs are going to work really well for him today, I feel.
What kind of pit delta are we looking at there, Rob? Because it looked kind of short from my point of view.
I think, we're looking at about 15 to 20 seconds, depending on how good the pit stop is.
So he was about 12 clear when he came in, and he's about 6 behind. So I think we're looking at about 18 seconds.
That fits the 15 to 20 description.
It does.
Oh, mind you, he's already pulling back about half a second.
Yeah, he's already taken a significant chunk of time since he came back out of the pits.
This should be interesting.
What I was just looking at before Ruiz actually stopped was that Ruiz was as far ahead of Powers as Powers is ahead of Ledesma.
Oh, that's a bit of perspective there. I like that, but that's brutal. I think this is the kind of performance we were expecting from Porsche in the first couple of races. Obviously, a lot of this in the early stages down to tyre strategies and softer compounds. But, this kind of gap is what had really been hyped up for us. I forgot where I was going with that one.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, this gap is being, significantly over-dramatised by the tyre compounds. You've got the 2 Mathjaws up the front, which, has shown to be the quickest car on the extra soft and the soft tyres, and then the Downtons and the firsts behind on the mediums and the hards. So, and the lead of that little quartet is on the hard tyres. So, I mean, between them, they're certainly letting Mathjau get away with this one.
Yeah, they certainly are.
So Hunter Ryan looks as though they're still gapping Al Arcanga behind them then. That's a solid you know, sort of 5-second gap there appearing now.
I'm sorry, Bradley, I didn't listen to a word you just said. I literally was staring at the screen. And
No,
I
that's
just didn't...
absolutely fine.
What were the words that left your mouth?
I said Ryan is has got about 5 seconds now back to Kanga.
That's quite a tasty gap. To be fair, we've seen both of the Lopez boys struggling a bit. Wagner is under some pressure from Beckenbauer here, which is allowing Alvarez and Vazquez to catch up. Kanga is, as you say, dropping time to Hunter Ryan.
As yeah, Ruiz now then. The gap to Simon is now under 3 seconds, nearly 2.5. Ruiz is rapidly reeling him in here. And I get the impression we'll probably see Adrian Simon into the pits quite soon, along with the other soft-tired runners.
I think your instinct could be correct. As we've got tasted a little bit of info down in the pit lane. Rob, what are you up to, my guy?
Yeah, it's very much related to the technical difficulties we're having. I think it's quite a unique problem we're having all up and down the pit lane, because it's not only our communications systems and all of our visual equipment that's not working. The entire grid is having problems, so it'll be really interesting to see how the teams cope, because everyone's frantically getting their pit boards ready just in case the communications with the cars come down as well. It's extremely difficult circumstances right now in the paddock. I mean, personally, our team, I'm watching Arthur Lapierre absolutely frantically. I mean, he has just hit his computer, so I think we've got, it's unprecedented scenes down here. So we need to hope that things can sort themselves out pretty soon.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Rob.
Yes, thank you, Rob. Thank you. As Ruiz then now within 1.5 seconds of Adrian Simon. But Power's
yes.
still holding these guys up, and he's now 20 seconds behind Simon. So
yeah,
I'd say Adrian Simon has a pit stop now, enough to come out in second place.
And what's crazy about that is that Ruiz has basically also got another pit stop on these guys. Like, he's made one pit stop and he's got another one.
Oh yeah, I mean, Ruiz is. I mean, if we those extra softs are on for doing a 4-stopper. Powers has to do. Well, Powers we assume will do a 1 on the hards. But Ruiz has already gained 2 pit stops in well less than half distance, so I think he's got this one more than comfortably covered off. These Matishaws are going to absolutely vanish into the distance.
They definitely are. Here we go then. We've got Simon leading Ruiz through the fast left-right, going into that third sector. Then this is definitely going to be very close on the pit straight. Approaching now, what's this, turn 13, 14? I thought he might have a look up the inside there, but no dice unfortunately, but you can see he's got so much more confidence under brakes. And just more faith in the tyres.
Yeah.
Oh, as Simon
peels in.
Yeah.
Right, see him come down here, and I have to say, some of the Mathershaw boys aren't actually particularly keen to be seeing him right now. There's a little bit of confusion as to what lap he was going to pit. I think the communication software is starting to come back. So he's hit his marks well, and looks like everything's just about solved itself in time. He's back out on track now, and I think he should hopefully have a decent margin to Powers. Yeah, indeed, it looks about 5 seconds visually.
That stop looked a bit slow there, possibly like a stuck wheel nut maybe.
Yeah, I think it was just a symptom of the half of the pit crew very much weren't expecting to see Adrian this lap. They were expecting him next lap. So I think it's just one of these things. It'll be interesting to see whether other teams have similar issues throughout the race.
And that's Zvernas, I see, just rejoining as well then. So obviously he pitted the same lap, but that's not worked out quite as well for the Lithuanian, who's rejoined in 19th.
Oh dear. Mind you, at least he's not got stuck behind the hard tyre shod Westwood there of Giordano.
No, very true. Who actually, unseen to us, has been passed at some point by Takahashi.
Yeah, and he's dropped a solid 4 seconds there, although Takahashi did carry on his soft tyres. So
did Kovalenko.
Oh, with those two, I mean, I would
Rob,
say
is that going to
those
make
two
a
being glad
difference?
Takahashi. Well,
So if Kovalenko can make one more lap on his tyres next, he might just about be able to do a 2-stop. At the moment, They'll still be 3 stops, just with a shorter final stint.
Okay, thank you. I think that's probably where we're looking at. I'd be stunned if Kovalenko and Takahashi now don't dive in at the end of this lap. But again, we've seen it again then. So we saw this in Japan and we saw it in Australia. The cars that we would usually expect to be... Yes, sorry, Malaysia. The cars that we'd usually expect to be slightly further down the grid, the AMR, the Arrow, they've managed to go a lap longer on the tyres.
Yeah, I really think it is just down to what we were discussing last time out, that these cars are putting just less strain on these tyres.
And I'm just waiting to see it flick. And there we go, yeah, Kovalenko does dive into the pits then.
Like a goose of the silly variety. Oh, and he's followed in by Vasquez. I just like saying it like that.
No surprise there at all then.
I'll tell you who's carried on, Takahashi.
He absolutely has. What a lad!
Takahashi's going to make it for, what's that, a 2-stop strategy?
That is now borderline on a 2-stop, so yeah, at end of lap 19, it'll be tight. He may end up having to come in right at the end in the final couple of laps, but yeah, no, I think he might well have just pulled that one out of the bag there.
If we also consider the fact that Takahashi has a reasonably strong chance of being lapped, just being realistic, no...
I mean, to be fair, at this point, I think a lot of the field stand a reasonably strong chance of being lapped.
Yeah, gap from first to last, not even halfway through, is a minute and 1 second. That's a bit close under braking, as Svianas has gotten a little bit bogged down behind Takahashi here. He just can't seem to find a way past. Jaguar power unit is not bad in that Arrow.
No, absolutely, but Takahashi will be surely out of his way at the end of this lap.
Oh, 100%. Mind you, I think Svianas might not have to wait. He might just send it up the inside here. He won't if he's clever.
He's certainly looking. Nope. But I should imagine the team have probably been on the radio to go, look, mate, he's going to pit. Just leave it, it's not worth it.
No, at the end of the day, while he's going to lose a few seconds, it's much better than risking parts of your car in a scrap.
Yeah,
sure enough,
indeed, there we go then.
Tyres are completely gone.
Yeah, Takahashi slides his way into the pit lane. That's a solid effort, though.
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job. I'm just wondering if maybe what we are seeing today is part of the reason that Arrow are struggling to make the grid. Maybe they're not using really the good at their short... Yeah, but they're fantastic at keeping their tyres consistent over a stint.
Yeah.
But yeah, because if they can, especially once the Q1 teams change, if Arrow can start making more regular races, they might be up for some more decent results. But I think actually I'm stealing part of that point from Rob, who's yelling at me. He's not actually, I just like making drama. Rob, can you tell us more about that?
No, I'm hearing that in my ear from what you're saying. Yeah, I think that's a great insight. I think what we're looking at is that in qualifying, particularly for Q1 for some of the back markers, that as you say, it's just they're not switching the tyres on during the session because obviously you're not taking the best out of the tyre on lap 1, lap 2. So they're losing out on that ultimate pace. But as you say, if they can get a good enough result that means that they can come out of Q1, the team will go from strength to strength. Absolutely, I think that's a brilliant point.
Thank you, Robert. I do love being flattered. That couldn't have come out any more conceited.
So
as we've got then. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, but yeah. Well, I think we were just going to do exactly the same thing. Up front, we've got Enrique Ruiz, who is just over 18 seconds clear now of Adrian Simon. So I do believe Ruiz now has a pit stop in hand over his teammate and could make his stop and come out back in the lead of this race. So we'll very much keep an eye on that one. But I think he's, I mean, barring any technical issues, I think he's pretty much home and dry now. Which is ridiculous to consider on lap 21, but a lot could still happen yet. We will keep an eye on it and see how it goes. Someone else I've been impressed with so far is Marcus Thunder.
Yes, he's doing a fantastic job up there.
He's sticking with that Wagner, Beckenbauer, Alvarez Garcia train, and it's not as though he's on the soft tyres. He is, he is on the mediums.
Yeah, I think. As we've got Svianas coming up to the back of this train now, this could mix things up a bit. Obviously, Wagner has been looking a bit hardy on those hards, especially the last few laps. But I think where they've had to follow for so long, those mediums are starting to drop off a little bit.
Yeah, Madsen passed Kanga somewhere.
Oh, nice one, Gene.
we've God. Yeah, I mean, obviously we apologies again from all of us. We have had some technical issues during the opening 20 or so laps of this race, but yeah, we do appear to have missed that one. Jean Matson has actually passed Alar Kanga then for 8th place.
Yeah, that's a good move, to be fair. That's important.
And he's now got some clear air to try and pull away a bit. I mean, he's gapped Kanga by a second.
He's kicked.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, here we go then. It's very nice. Let's look at the outside of Marcus Thunder. He's got so much more grip. Look at that.
That absolutely phenomenal then from the Lithuanian to just drive clean around the outside.
Yeah, it looks like I don't know what's going on with maybe the curb or the actual track surface around that turn 6, but we're seeing everyone throw the rear end out a little bit, and they're having to catch that slide every lap. And I don't know, that might be taking a bit out of the tyres.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe the dirty air, actually. I'm a genius. Boom, roasted. No, wait, that's roast. But I've got to say, I really don't think hards were the call for this race. We're seeing them struggle to get any lap time, and well, the mediums could be on for a borderline one-stop. I'm not the pit lane expert, but that's just how it looks to me, a little simpleton.
Yeah, I was just thinking, exactly that. The hard tyres don't seem to be showing here quite what I think people expected.
As I've just received an I am from the pit lane, would you like to give us some insight into the tyres?
Yeah,
not working.
I think that if you look at the tyres in isolation, the quickest way to complete this race for the average car on the average track on this track, if you're on your own, is probably the mediums, maybe the softs. But what we're seeing here is the classic example of, especially at Albert Park, it's not isolation.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you because down the inside of Gabriele Garcia goes Dominicas Veronas. He did thunder at that corner on the outside last time round, and now he's done Garcia as well.
Inside, outside, over and under.
I was going to say, next time round he's going to go over the top. Alvarez should probably duck.
He's going to do the Ralph Schumacher into turn 1.
Yeah, sorry, Rob.
Yeah, I think that's a great example there as well. It is possible to overtake here, but it's very difficult indeed. So what we're seeing is that actually the hard-tired runners are ruining the race of the softer compound runners that are behind. So to be honest, I think that there isn't another car on the grid right now, other than Enrique Ruiz from pole, that would have made the super soft strategy work. Even if he was behind Adrian Simon at the start of the race, he probably would have ended up losing far too much time behind to then be able to make that advantage back up. So I think that we're seeing a very unique race playing out here, and I think that it was very much a good qualifying performance for Enrique Ruiz that has facilitated this kind of result, this performance so far. And I think that, again, if we ran this race again with the top maybe 6 or 10 kind of rotated around a little bit, I think we'd be able to see something very different in terms of the kind of race we'd be getting.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, some of the simulations that we had running before the race showed us that the extra softs would be literally atrocious in every scenario, apart from one where the driver who is running them starts in pole position. And I think that's at which point they would dominate, and I think that's absolutely what we're seeing here.
Yeah, it was definitely a risk on our part, I think. But at the end of the day, when you've got a driver that's as good over one lap as Enrique Ruiz, you have to give him the tools to do the job. And for us today, I don't think we could be happier. He's really providing the performance that backs up the strategy, really.
Yeah, most definitely, as Ruiz then is some 20 seconds clear of Adrian Simon, so he's absolutely got a pit stop in hand now. Meanwhile, Simon is 20 seconds clear of Powers, so he does as well. The two of them are, well, I mean, absolutely clear of this one then. Powers still running in third ahead of Perez, Klaas van Snelheid, Hoskins and Hunter Ryan. There's still that train of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There looked to be a little bit of commotion in the background there. Oh, and there is, and that's Kovalenko in the wall. Dmitro Kovalenko then is in the wall, and he's just reversed into one of the Westwoods, and that's Garcia caught up in that as well, and Marcus Thunder, and that is, I think, Giordano that's just been reversed into by Kovalenko, and so Kovalenko then without a front wing, and what was a pretty reasonable race has gone somewhat down the Swanee. Garcia pits without a front wing as well, and I'm sure we'll get a replay of that one. So this is going to mix things up then. Garcia pits, so Garcia on the medium tyres has been forced in for an early stop. I should imagine he will get away with that one, as in comes the race leader as well then. Ruiz pits at the end of lap 25 for his second stop.
That's shorter.
He's just hit his marks. Yeah, it seems to have been a relatively good stop again.
Yeah, and look at that then, easily back out in the lead as we go on board with Gabriele Garcia then in the replay. So what happened here? Oh, so it was Garcia that caught the curb on the inside and spun. Thunder had nowhere to go. Oh, and Kovalenko spun in sympathy behind him.
Oh, wow. So maybe just pushed. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, so the pair of them then, that was really quite synchronised as, let's say, Garcia spun, Kovalenko spun in sympathy, and as Kovalenko was recovering, he reversed into the side of Puccio Giordano.
Which you do not love to see.
Oh, Giordano. So Giordano's lost a little bit of his front wing, but looks as though he might have largely got away with that and just lost a couple of positions.
Yeah, I think we might have the boys just double check the radiator there, but it's a very irresponsible driving from Kovalenko, but I think he was just unsighted.
Kovalenko seems to do this though, doesn't he? You know,
yes.
last time I remember him being in a race was, I know he's been in races since, but last time I remember him being in a race was United States last year, where he took Timo Kinnaman out of the lead.
Luckily, I don't think that was when I was running Kinnaman, so I'm not that mad.
Well, no, he was in the Franklin last year.
Oh, last year? I wasn't entirely listening. You know what I'm like, Bradley, I'm a rascal. As we've got a little graphics issue for me, but it looks like that's Zveranas pressuring Wagner for 11. But I wouldn't know, because it's still frozen up again.
Yeah, it is. This is proving somewhat challenging. But Ruiz then, he came out of the pits about 4 seconds clear of Adrian Seaman, and he's doubled that gap already.
I agree. I too am aware and can read the numbers.
Rob, have you got anything for us?
I've got a little bit of insight from my pit wall. I think we've started to get a little bit of our comms back, but unfortunately it's still a little bit intermittent. Ruiz is doing, again, same thing that he's been doing. It looks like he's almost extending the gap by 1.2, 1.3 seconds on the fresh sets of tyres, and then, as you say, it gradually comes back down to half a tenth, maybe, or half a second, and then maybe a little bit less. It's one of the drives that it's one of the best drives I've seen in a Mathershall car for certain. But I do think that the tyres are doing the job for us as well.
Brilliant. If you've got some kind of comms, you might need to lead this one, because our everything up here in the commentary box has just gone down for us, I'm afraid.
Right, that's no worries. What I'll do is I'll sit on the pit wall and talk over the screen and the telemetry that I can receive, and then I'll call the laps so that you can catch up.
Yes, brilliant. That would be much appreciated. This is like old school, isn't it? We're
going to
have to do it by looking out the window in a minute, Lily.
I have been plunged into 1987. We start at 28 there for Enrique Ruiz now, with Adrian Simon 9 seconds behind. So on the screen at the moment, unfortunately, because my screen is quite... unfortunately, my screen is extremely small because I've been looking at the data traces rather than the actual... rather than the race broadcast for the most part. We've got in the pit lane, we've got Hunter Ryan and Jean Matson right now. So Garcia looks like he has now been the first driver to have been lapped on the road after Kovalenko's accident.
But to be fair, Garcia crashed himself.
Oh, yes.
Like a silly goose.
That's very true. So actually we've got Gianni Ledesma a minute and 19 seconds, about minute and 19 seconds behind the leader. So at the rate Ruiz, he might be looking at another 4 or 5 laps before he starts having lapped traffic. So it'll be interesting to see how he can cope with that, and indeed how well the blue flags work here.
I've just seen something which is going to be an. Oh, never mind. Carry on.
Yep. Looking at the harder tired runners, so Powers 31.9 seconds back from the leader. Perez, who, if I remember correctly, is on the medium compound tyre. I would be very interested to have seen his pace in the clear air. I think he would have been at this point possibly challenging Adrian Simon on strategy, if not on outright pace, with the slower compound. So that would have been a really interesting battle. But again, I think it's a symptom of the Albert Park circuit, these harder compound tyres. As we have 3 runners in the pit lane now, I think that's the 2 firsts with Van Snelheid sandwiched in between them. So
I'm back.
It'll be interesting to see how these 3 come out compared to the order they come in. So they've all stopped now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to...
Sorry, I just cut across you.
That's all right. And I think we've got Perez out. And I think that Perez...
Hoskins has done the
Hoskins, has managed to jump all 3 of them.
That's a long stop for class. He's had to be held with his pit lane position.
Absolutely. I think you guys are back now, so I'm going to throw back up to you.
Thanks. Thank you for that, Robert. Really genuinely appreciated. As Ryan, with a big slide around the outside, reminiscent of Nelson Piquet on the outside of Senna at Hungary back in, what was it, 1986?
I don't know. I was just wondering if there was some slight contact there between Hoskins and Ryan.
Possibly. Hoskins would have been desperate to, not lose that position, but Ryan was pretty keen to nab it. Doesn't Ryan still have the pit? Or have I missed something? I mean, we've all missed something.
No, Ryan pitted and jumped a lot of them.
No.
Wow.
You.
Hunter Ryan is pitted and jumped the lot of them. So the undercut here then, really proving strong.
Yeah, I'll say. But that was dead on a one-stop strategy though, wasn't it? No, that was the end of 28. Rob.
Yeah, so 28 would take us to lap 56.
I realised that was really rude. Sorry, Rob. Robert! Give me the answers! No!
At the moment, my pit wall looks like a complete pigsty. I don't think Monsieur Lapierre is particularly pleased with how many papers I now have strewn all over the place. But I'm going to tidy up a bit and I'll come back to you.
Thank you, Robert.
Yes, much appreciated. As there we've got Dominicas Veranas then stalking Elroy Wagner for 5th place.
Oh, alright.
As behind them, Hoskins looks as though he's closed back in on Hunter Ryan a little.
Oh yeah, he has. He's putting the pressure back on.
But yeah, class really lost out there, didn't they?
So sorry to kind of change subject. Are we waiting for any more pit stops from the medium tired runners there?
I don't think so. Oh, Veranas is through past Wagner. Sorry. As there we see it on screen. But yeah. No, I think we're there. Addison is the last one. He's in the pits now.
Excellent. Cool.
Here we go. Replay then. On board with Veranas. And it was at turn 3. Oh, it wasn't quite at turn 3. He set the move up at turn 3 and then went round the outside of Wagner at turn 4 to complete it and move into 5th. That's a great effort from the Lithuanian. As Addison rejoins in 25th then.
Yes, he does. Right in front of Ruiz, who will be looking at the back of his old team. And
I'm sure he's driving along going, that car looks familiar. But probably not used to seeing it from that angle.
Considering he's normally sat in the seat.
I was going to say, and considering he's normally sat in the seat, and more often than not has been ahead of his teammate, he actually probably doesn't know what the back of a Franklin looks like.
Oh no,
he might not recognise it at all.
Oh, Robert, you have information and a brain. Give it.
Oh, I've just thought of it, but I'll let Rob because I think I might be about to steal his thunder.
Give me the information.
The information. I'll keep the brain then.
Good job.
I think based on that pit stop, the medium-tired runners, so they've essentially now been gone from in a train behind the hard-tired Powers to the hard-tired Kanga. So unless they can get past him in short order, what they've basically done there is sacrificed 10 seconds of race time immediately just by changing who they're following. So they really do need to get past Kanga as quickly as possible, then shoot down that 10-second gap if they're going to stand any chance at all of
Kanga is
challenging Powers.
Sorry, I misread that completely. I thought you were done, and I was like, let's go! No, but Kanga, in part due to that meaty Porsche unit in the back of his car, has been under pressure for pretty much this entire race. I'm thinking of Wagner, I just realised, But both of the Lopez boys, they've had their fair share of pressure and they've been holding it off like it's nothing.
Yeah, I think it's a similar situation to what we saw.
Oh, Perez are on the outside of both of them!
Oh,
Sorry to cut across there, but look at that! That's phenomenal stuff. So Perez takes his teammate and takes Ryan.
It's very nice. No, it would be Ryan. It would be Ryan.
7th place. Man, I don't think Hoskins is going to be best pleased about that, but he opened the door for his teammate. I don't think he knew he was opening the door. Sort of like brushing against the door handle as you're trying to move a box, you know? And here we go then, we've got an onboard replay. Yeah, Perez just sees that door open, like opening the curtains on a sunny day. He's still got to fight for it a little bit on Ryan, but he closes the door quite nicely after walking through it. Very nice stuff there, as we've now got Klaas van Snelheid following closely behind Will Hoskins, who goes defensive for some reason in turn 7. Oh! Klaas has done him around the outside. I don't know if Hoskins might have a problem, but he is seriously struggling in wheel-to-wheel combat at the moment.
that was a pretty bold move there from the young Dutchman. I think he's certainly got some fire in his belly after coming out behind all of these guys that he was competing with earlier.
Yeah,
so,
I think that was very akin to the class that we saw a few years ago in his opening season. Very, very bold overtake, but he seems to have refined his craft and obviously made it easier to make it stick. Interesting stuff. Up there looked like there's a bit of a spin up ahead. That's very nice. Quite slow as Powers peels into the pits. Oh, wow, that was a lot of peas. So yeah, Powers hits his marks quite nicely there.
Yeah, I think he's. I think that this will probably bring him out. Oh, we've got both Lopez's pitting at once as well. So that's both the hard-tired runners in the front end of the grid there, pulling away and unleashing the cars that were behind. Here's Powers. He's come out the pit lane.
Oh, this is a bit dicey. Oh, on the grass, the class.
Now, crucially, there, Veronis and Perez have both emerged ahead of Powers, so now have that clear air on the medium tyre to move outwards. So
just watching the Ingram get very tasty in the background there.
So it'll be interesting to see now whether or not Veronis and Perez can now pull out that gap on the medium tyre, on the harder tyre runner, to make the gap to make the softer compound work. Whereas everyone else behind has now is still being bolted by Powers, so they should be able to pull out quite a lot of time on quite a lot of cars, and maybe now there's a podium on for Veronis.
Yeah, this will definitely be the telling part of the V-Prix, where these soft-tired runners have got in front of their harder tyre rivals, well, at least some of them, and they really have to put in the work to make sure that gap goes up.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Sorry, welcome back.
Hello. Sorry. Yes. Technical issues.
Yeah.
I have been listening. I've just noticed actually, you didn't take my point before because you mentioned something regarding what I was going to talk about was Addison. Nick Addison on the medium tyres didn't pit until lap 30. He's already been lapped. Addison could make this on the one stop.
Christ.
That's pretty nifty, I must say, from old Nick.
So that could elevate him to kind of the mid tens of positions, if you like. So it could be an interesting one. Do we already have a figure for what a good non-point scoring finish is for the back of the grid to then elevate you out of Q1?
Well, I think
Chima got
Lucas's
12.
best result has been a 17th. Yeah, Chima have got a 12. I think Westwood
Right.
is a 14th.
You are correct.
Well, or at the moment
Or
already, Beckenbauer in 12th, I believe. So he's on for getting something approaching that kind of result for matching the Chima. So that'd be interesting to see how that ends up.
I think someone we're going to have to keep an eye on as well is Takahashi. Look at him there, he's in 17th.
in the pits.
Two people spoke at once and I got confused, but Simon is having his tyres changed.
Certainly is. I think a pretty routine stop there, and he's come out with plenty of space, both in front and behind, other than the back markers. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes for him.
Anyway, so what I'm assuming, Rob, you were calling out the tyre strap. So Bradley, what was your thing?
I was just saying, I think we need to keep an eye on Takahashi because I think he might be
Off for a decent result.
currently 16th.
Yeah, if you think, he's definitely making those soft tyres work quite nicely for him, actually. As Perez is really a man on a mission here, like, determinedly. Is that a word?
It is now.
Yeah, he's determinedly staying with Hunter Ryan in front of him there. Get the point. Sorry, I'm just like sometimes when people say things in my ear, I just I repeat it out loud. But one thing that's interesting. Sorry.
We're just on lap 36 now, so I'm just doing the old school, trying to sync up everyone's audio because we're back in the 1980s and it's not the easiest of times at the moment for all of us.
Is this what they used to have to do? I didn't watch races in the 80s because I'm young.
Well, luckily, because they could all be sit in the same room, they didn't have quite as much of an issue. But this is very much how they used to do old rally broadcasts, where you had one person at the beginning of the stage, one person at the end, trying to talk over each other at the same time.
That sounds like an interesting way to do things.
So, obviously, I've been a little
silly.
I've had a couple of issues and have been. So what have we got? We've got Ruiz leading from Adrian Simon then by about half a minute.
Yeah, who's got another half a minute back to Sviranas on the final place. Never mind, there he goes.
At what point did Sviranas pick up third?
Because I assumed the strategies are out of sync. Because he's peeling off.
Yeah, some of the medium-tired runners got caught behind Powers after Powers made his pit stop, and some of them managed to just poke through. So,
Rob, do you want to just call the stop and let us know when he leaves the box?
Yeah, he has just left the box. I'm going to tell you when he has crossed the line, and he is now at full racing speed once more, making his way into turn 1.
Hell yeah!
Brilliant. So Sviranas then rejoins in.
Gets that place back.
Yeah, Sviranas rejoins in 13th between the two Lopez's then. So Sviranas will now have to contend with passing Alar Kanga on the hard tyres if he's to try and make this work. But he's got a lot of cars just in front of him. There's not a lot of clear air there for him.
Vehicles. Look at the amount of lapped cars. We've got up to 16th now lapped, and I can't imagine it's going to be long for Vazquez, who's I think just pitted. I can't see numbers anymore. My numbers just turned into squares.
Oh dear.
To be fair, so did mine.
Oh my goodness.
As much as I love Albert Park as a circuit, the bandwidth available to us right now, not a lot.
To be fair, it's really hard to have good internet in a country that isn't real.
It's very true.
So yeah, sucks to be them. Oh, sucks to be us at the moment.
It certainly does.
But
this is 100% the hardest race I've ever commentated on because I've missed half of it.
I don't want to toot my own horn, chaps. But Beckenbauer is currently running in the points.
I was just going to say exactly the same.
Honk honk.
Boom boom. I don't have a horn, so I just banged my desk.
That's why I thought I'd toot it for you.
Oh dear.
It's resorted to that up in the commentary box.
It's okay, social distancing is being observed at all times.
Yeah, he's using do you know one of those claws that you get
Ruiz pits.
Who's pit? Oh,
Ruiz.
Again? Crazy.
Yep.
Well, this is.
I bet he's going to do it again in a bit.
He's probably just doing this to try and give himself something to do.
Another decent pit stop there from
just out in front of Seymour.
From the Porsche boys there.
They have absolutely nailed this every time, haven't they?
Hang on. No, yeah, never mind.
No, I think with the pit crew here, we've got quite a lot of the existing Malashore pit crew that have been with us since the beginning, through the Liverpool days, through the DS days.
Since the dawns of time.
And but what we've also got now is we're benefiting from a lot of the expertise that Porsche has brought over from endurance racing. So where the pit stops, because you're allowed far fewer members of pit crew, and you're only allowed to do certain things at certain times. You can't in some series fuel and put tyres on, for instance. Their protocols are so much better defined than we've ever had before, and I think we're really reaping the rewards of that at the moment.
Yeah, I suppose that's just one of the many benefits that does come with aligning yourself with such a prestigious manufacturer with such a racing pedigree. They will have finely tuned all aspects of their what's the word? Their machine, I guess, and obviously combine that with yourself. As there's a lovely move, with a bit of a slide there, coming on from Zviranas. He passes Kanga for 12th position and sets about chasing down the Phoenix of Alvarez. But yeah, when you get two finely oiled machines coming together like that, it really is just a sight to behold. I mean, the Porsche and Matthew are not two cars battling on track, which is also fun to see as Takahashi hits. I'm just taking up all of the mouth words right now. Someone else do something.
I think
I have to say, I think Zviranas is absolutely providing highlights for us here at the moment. His
definitely.
He is pulling off all the overtakes today, isn't he? Because unfortunately I missed some of those, you know, apparently phenomenal moves earlier on from Perez and
I
whoever
just want
else.
to point something out real quick. I know obviously Kovalenko had his little mistake, but like for Takahashi and Kovalenko to be like together on track after one started in the top 10, one started outside the top 20 is kind of nuts.
Yeah, but I think, you know, Kovalenko was running quite well, and he was holding position until he had that spin and lost it. Let's not forget, he did lose his front wing and was forced into the pits for an unscheduled stop and a lengthy one at that.
That was very, very silly of him.
Just interesting to know, Powers has made his one and only stop on the hard tyres, hasn't he?
Yes.
It was the one and only
He's
pit
sticking
stop
with Perez.
of the afternoon.
Yeah, Perez doesn't seem to have an awful lot of pace in this stint. I don't know whether, in fact, I think it's because he has McLaren in front of him who is proving to be slightly stubborn.
Very possible.
Mind you, Powers, if he's not careful, might also come under pressure from a man down under.
Well, that's the thing.
I did it.
Perez doesn't seem to have a lot of pace to be pulling away from Powers, but they are gapping Hunter Ryan.
Maybe.
I would say it also turns out what I was looking at on my extremely small screen on the pit wall was Will Hoskins and Klaus van Schnellheid stuck behind Hunter Ryan.
Oh, very nice.
So-
Yeah,
Love
there
to
is
see
that
it.
as well. You know, I do think, as we've seen from the first stint where, you know, it was Ryan that pitted first and really made the undercut work, I think third could almost, well, I think third is going to go to Powers at this point, to be honest. I think he's, without having to stop again, I think he's absolutely got that advantage over the medium runners. But fourth could be decided by literally who pits first.
No, I think you're absolutely right.
actually.
At that point, do you then favour the likes of Van Schnellheid, Hoskins and Perez purely because they have got slightly more pace, and as we've seen, the cars that are ever so slightly further back on pace extract some extra performance out of the tyres?
And if Ryan pitted first last time round, I think there's every chance he'll do it again. I just want to
I was
add,
going to say that.
on the back of these guys, you know, we've got Ryan, Hoskins, Klaus van Schnellheid, who have been in 3 cars that we've seen right towards, obviously not, you know, behind Mathishaw, but right towards the front. Right up behind them, on the same tyre strategy, Matson and Halverson both doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, that's not too. That's not. Never mind. I forgot.
Yeah, I think what we've seen with Matson and Halverson is that they were stuck in the Kanga train, if I remember correctly, and as soon as they managed to get the jump during Kanga's stop to get ahead of them. So what they've been able to do is they've been able to take advantage of that relatively clear air compared to the people that got stuck behind Kanga again. So they've essentially, rather than the guys earlier on that fell back from the Powers train to the Kanga train, they've managed to move themselves forward to the back of it, so they've got themselves a bit of a net gain.
They've been able to move themselves forward to the back of it.
Yes. And
Sounds
think that
awful, but makes
perfect
sense.
That doesn't sound awful. That's like saying Back to the Future sounds awful.
And look how much money that made.
Like
Well, this is
3.
true. So
Three monies.
Beckenbauer and Alvarez are both on the mediums, right?
Sorry? Yes.
Okay, so then we've got Zviranas on the softs. So Kanga on the hards. So where are we looking? So I'm just looking at Halverson then. So Halverson has 13 seconds over Kanga. So a few more, and even Johan Halverson will have a pit stop.
I can't tell you how fast my leg is bouncing because of the stress right now.
Yeah, that's going to take some good pace from Ryan at the front of the train to effectively pull everyone through. And Powers has relatively easily now started gapping Ryan, so this could be an very interesting battle indeed.
Perez
This will be an interesting battle.
Perez has a pit stop on Kanga already.
Very true. Yes.
Ooh.
He's got 20 seconds. And if we're thinking
Sneaky
about
boy.
18,
And don't forget, if Ryan, we're thinking he's going to pit a lap earlier, he's got less time to make that gap.
he does. That's very true. But he's overtaken. No, he hasn't. It was Veronas, wasn't it, that's overtaken Kangar already?
Yes.
Veronas, meanwhile, is right already onto the back of Sergio Alvarez, as we see on screen there, in fact. It's Beckenbauer as well.
Go, nothing there. Yeah, Beckenbauer's been losing a fair bit of time, actually, in this stint to Alvarez, who's caught him from a gap of about 3 seconds. So, done quite well in that Phoenix. I've got to say, I wasn't expecting a Westwood to be running in the points semi-legitimately in the 3rd race of the season.
You know, but being as polite as possible, I don't think we were either.
No. I'm not going to take any offence to it.
I think as late as qualifying yesterday, we weren't really expecting it that much.
Ooh, I have to admit,
I'll be honest,
for
I'm
a
still
few
not
minutes.
expecting it now, and I'm seeing it.
Oh yeah, it's like seeing is not always believing. But I think we know, obviously, that Ocelot is definitely faster than these two, but also the Phoenix is definitely faster than the Westwood.
Yeah, I'm surprised at the Phoenix today. They don't seem to. I mean, okay, you know, Alvarez is 11, but Zylander's 18th on the hard tyres. I suppose it's not really that far behind the Lopez boys, is he? It just, I don't know, their pace just doesn't seem to have really materialised.
No,
like I'd put Alvarez, you know, I'd put that Phoenix probably roughly equal with the Ingram and the North Star, but I suppose well, maybe, you know, Alvarez has been caught behind Beckenbauer while those two guys didn't.
I think we're just seeing the different characteristics of all the cars coming into play. We've seen the guys that have been strong in the previous 2 races. Very long straights, very long sweeping corners. Here, a lot tighter, a lot twistier, even with the relatively high-speed section around the back of the circuit. I think we're just seeing different cars coming to the fore in different times, and it's all been even more skewed by the tyre strategy.
It does make some very exciting racing, though, I have to say. And that's not just me on 3 cans of coffee.
I love this mix of you know, of differing tyre strategies, because it really throws things up in the air.
We don't see it a lot either, because a lot of teams have really narrowed down what the best strategy usually is at a circuit. But every now and then we'll get a race like this with a fair bit of variance in the tyre strategy.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen a race where the top 4 on the grid have been on 4 different compounds of tyre.
No, I would actually go out and say no.
I think it's been really interesting to see as well that everyone knew the challenge of Albert Park in terms of overtaking, and the top 2 teams in the championship, and with arguably the 2 fastest cars, they both went completely opposite directions. Ourselves went with the go as soft as possible and try and run and hide, while the Downton boys very much went for the, if we go harder, we can start to essentially play spoiler in other people's races. And I think that the result's coming the way that it looks to be coming the way that it is today, but if you switched those top 4 up at all, it would have been a completely different result. And actually, it's that unpredictability that I think we're going to be looking forward to quite a lot this season.
Oh yeah, I mean, imagine just for example that, you know, as we had in Malaysia, Nathaniel Powers had taken pole and started on those hard tyres. Ruiz would have been in a world of pain.
Yeah, the early overtake would have been absolutely crucial there, but from what we've seen today, unless your name's Dominicus Veronas, it's probably not going to happen.
No, mind you, he's having a bit of trouble behind these 2 at the moment, the 2 British outfits from Manchester.
Yeah, he seems to have found a bit of a wall in Sergio Alvarez, doesn't he?
I have a theory on what's happening. Obviously, the Westwood, it's no secret that we've struggled here more than we did in Malaysia and Japan, because it's a bit more of a twisty circuit. But I think along the straights, that Porsche unit is keeping Beckenbauer ahead, but also pulling Alvarez with him slightly.
Well, yeah, the Downton power unit certainly no slouch in itself. So I think you're absolutely right. I don't know whether or not the Ocelot that's possibly slightly more geared up for the cornering. It just can't. It can get the run in the corners, but it just can't get close enough on the straights to get into the braking zone at the same kind of speed.
No, because I mean, if you watch every lap, how close they are going into, I think it's 11 and 12, the left right. They are like nose to tail, but they like there just seems like form a bit of a gap. I know there's the accordion effect as it is, but yeah, it's pretty interesting, pretty tense as well.
Indeed. Rob, how close are we to any next round of pit stops, and what compound of tyre is it going to be?
Step box.
That's an extremely good question. As you asked that, my timing screen has just absolutely capitulated. So let's have a look. What a word. We've got 13 laps to go. I'm going to do some very crude maths here. So if Ruiz early pitted around 13:26, 13. You're about to see how my brain works here. So the softest compound run at Ruiz is looking at another 7 or 8 laps.
There's movement. Beckenbauer and Alvarez are going hammer and tong.
Oh yeah, Alvarez round the outside of Carl Beckenbauer then at the final corner. And
please give us a 3 wide scrap.
That looked like a brilliant move from Alvarez. He's now leading the little trio then as they come down into turn 1. You've got Beckenbauer on the inside, Zveranas on the outside. I think the Lithuanian is going to take that one. And indeed he does quite comfortably as Beckenbauer gets pinched on the apex. But it's Alvarez who's got ahead of them both. He is into 10th. Zveranas through into 11th then as Beckenbauer slips past behind both of them to 12th.
That's brought the Lopez's right back into play.
It has. It's both Kanga, Wagner and Vasquez. I know what I meant.
All 2, 3, 7.
All 2 plus 1 of them are right onto the back of Beckenbauer now.
Is that Vasquez on the softs?
Vasquez is on the softs, yeah, like Zveranas.
I don't think
that's
Vasquez
gonna hurt.
Yep. Vasquez, I think, is about to fall quite far back. Thunder is going to be on for a very good result for Lucas here.
Well, we don't know the gap between Vasquez and Thunder, because obviously Thunder's been lapped and Vasquez hasn't.
You're right. Yeah. Let me see. Thundale.
One of the things we are seeing, though, is that when you've got these big trains of cars, it's something that touring car fans will be very familiar with. When the car at the head of the train does get overtaken, it's very difficult sometimes to get back into that train, so that you end up with so you make a mistake that loses you 1, 2, 3 more, 4, maybe even more positions, and ultimately it's that kind of really close quarters racing we're seeing today.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Klaas van Snelheid round the outside of Will Hoskins at turn 3 then, and Klaas van Snelheid moves up into 6th.
That was a quality overtake. You love to see that pass.
Was really, really late on the brakes from Klaas, and I don't think even he expected it until the last minute.
No, but I think it just goes to show what I mentioned earlier, how he's still got that that fire, that desire to be in front. But he's just the way he's refined it over the last few years is really good to see.
You mentioned that earlier. I missed that one completely.
Oh, brilliant. Bradley doesn't listen to me. Never mind the fact that I almost never listen to him.
Sorry, what?
What do you mean, what? You did my bit before I did it, and then my bit wasn't funny. Fuck. Anyway, we got Hunter Ryan with the hefty trade now. He's actually gonna... who's he trying to get out in front of?
Absolutely joined the back of this now, haven't they?
Oh, 100%, yeah. They are now in the scrap. And then I think there's that gap. Zveranas. Dominic.
His name's not Dominic.
Do you know what? Number 2 Ocelot.
The Lithuanian.
Oh, that's a good one. The Lithuanian.
That's why I call him that quite often.
Can I call him Dom?
No.
Dommy, call me.
I don't know, you'll have to ask him.
I don't think he speaks English.
He does speak English.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it's just hello and goodbye, but...
So yeah, if you call him Dom and he says, if you call him Dom and he says goodbye, he doesn't like it.
So is it hello is it good and goodbye is it bad? So like they go, okay, Dominic, we need you to pit now, and he goes goodbye. He just keeps on driving around.
Well, no, what he does is he said goodbye and just fucks off and drives off out the circuit.
No. He says hello and goodbye, so anytime he's coming up to overtake someone, like right now, he says hello to Alvarez, he passes him, and as he drives away, he goes goodbye.
Oh dear.
Zveranas' grasp on the English language is phenomenal, but it is improving. He is, I think he's halfway through learning thank you.
Damn.
Thank. Has he learnt the thank or the you?
I think he's learnt the you.
Because that's good, that's more useful.
He's learned an amalgamation.
I think he's struggling with the word thank. And he's, pronouncing a word that's similar, ends in the same letter, but starts with an F.
Thank.
Thank.
I said similar, not the same.
See, I was thinking something that sounded pretty much the same with a W.
Funk! Like disco!
Yes.
Everyone loves a bit of 80s
Funk you
disco.
is what he's picked up.
Hey, Bradley!
To be fair, Lithuania and the Baltic States.
Look where Ruiz is, look who he's about to lap.
Who is he about to lap?
He's about to lap the likes of.
Vasquez.
Let's see, we've got Vasquez, Wagner,
good.
Kanga, Beckenbauer, Veronas, and Alvarez in that train in front of him.
Well, I've heard that the call now is hold off for a couple of laps because you'll be pitting in about 3 or 4 laps. So don't do anything stupid.
I was going to say, in fairness, it's not as if Ruiz really needs to push on lapping these guys, is it? He doesn't really have anyone in particularly close quarters.
I reckon Ruiz can still pit and still come back and lap these guys.
I think he's going to pit and still come back and lap these guys.
That's
When
right.
has-
They've
when
all
has
got one
Ruiz-
more stop to do, haven't they? Apart from those on the hard tyres.
I believe so. I think the mediums are just marginal.
Yeah.
Mind you, if the mediums
I
get-
think some of the mediums will pit again, some won't. Some, like Nick Addison, for example, are absolutely going to make it to the end.
Yeah.
That could really help Addison.
Maybe.
Oh, that's
Kovalenko
Kovalenko without a front wing again.
How's he
What's he
done
done
that?
this time?
You've got to wonder how he's still got. Here we go. He's
Right,
just misjudged it
here we
under
go.
braking.
Yeah, so this is behind Carson Davenport. And yeah, so there we go. He tried to go up the inside, got all over the curb, and Davenport quite rightly didn't give him any room because, well, he was nowhere near being in any position to try and overtake. And yeah, Kovalenko's just lost his front wing as a result.
Yeah. Clumsy, honestly, clumsy and foolish. He knows that this was. If you're Ryan Peterson right now, you're so upset. Not Ryan Peterson. Yeah. Wait.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're
so
both
bad
here
with
telling
names.
you, yeah,
Ruiz
into
in
the
the
pits,
pits.
Ruiz, yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, this is such a good opportunity. Well, was such a good opportunity for AMR, and he's completely squandered it for them.
Schneider wouldn't have thrown that away.
Schneider would have probably kept his car
Mind
in the
you,
points all the way.
Kovalenko actually qualified and Schneider didn't.
Schneider probably had something going on that day.
Yeah, decided he didn't fancy it.
Probably. We've all been there.
Yeah, so Ruiz makes his final stop and rejoins still some 15 seconds clear of Adrian Simon. So, you know,
Fair
barring any disaster, Ruiz is... I said it before 20 odd laps ago, and I'm going to say it again, I'm afraid, Rob. He's home and dry.
Why are you putting the commentator's curse on it?
Because he's a
at
bad
this point,
man.
I need anything.
I think Powers is nailed on for victory here.
It's definitely not. In third,
Well,
yeah.
No, I think he's nailed on to get the best performance of his life here, and he's going to retire with like 3 corners to go.
So now, Rob,
Yes.
what's going to be Halverson's best move here? Is it going to be to try and tuck in and follow this train, or is he going to want to try and get in front of Matson before they get into that train?
I'd pit now.
Of
Ooh.
course, they still have to pit.
Yeah, I'd pit.
Oh, mind you, hang on, sorry. Halverson is just about 15-16 seconds clear of the Lopez's by now. They're about getting to the gap.
I'd basically follow Matson and hope that he has the pace as well to push, to basically pull the two of them together. Worry about getting past Matson once they've both collectively got past the Lopez's after the pit stops. Then they can see where they lie.
So this is like a race, not just a race.
It's very much
This
like
is-
a race.
Not only like a
Is
race
it?
to
Is
get
that
that
what
gap
we're
up,
watching?
also who's gonna blink first? Because obviously, the earlier you pit, the more you risk falling behind the Lopez's. But on the other side of that coin, if you do manage to pit first and get in front of the Lopez's, you've got that fresh tyres, clean air that works.
At this point, if I was one of these two bosses, I'd be walking down to the pit wall of the corresponding opponent and be making a truce. I'd say I'd be pitting on the same lap as late as possible to then, and then we'll work it out later. It's very much like you get in long distance cycling events. You're looking at the peloton right now, trying to catch the breakaway group, and at the moment, put your rivalry aside, finish the race, and go for the sprint at the end rather than trying to beat everyone all the time.
I didn't know you were a cycling fan.
I'm an everything fan.
That's a very astute observation. I enjoyed it. Did I use that word right?
Yes.
Veronas has gotten past Alvarez.
Oh, he has, and he's 2 seconds. Oh, he's 2 seconds up the road, so he must have done that sometime.
Yeah, Bradley. Yeah.
Sometime
Mind you, we're
ago.
about to see a fun little scrap for 19th between Dominic. Nope. Domenic
Dominic Akali.
Dominic Akali, that's the one. Don't know why I said that.
Dominic Akali sounds like an Italian chef.
Oh, Ruiz just feels like posting another fastest lap, so he just does that. For
Well, you
funsies.
know, because as if pole and winning the race isn't enough, he's going for the hat trick. That's it, isn't
The
it?
Grand
unfortunately, he's not quite going to take the Grand Slam because I think Adrian Simon led 4 laps,
2 laps.
earlier on.
2 or 3, yeah.
Laps to get the slam.
Oh, Simon pits then.
That's
So
Instagram.
the first of the last stops for the soft tire. I knew what I meant. But
Okay,
either way,
fine.
Simon's going to rejoin comfortably in second, so it doesn't matter.
I'm only just seeing like what you pointed out about the nose of your car a little while ago, Rob. I like it.
Excellent. Good.
Oh,
dear.
Ryan really
That's
defending that. That's going to allow.
that's
Yeah,
good.
Klaus French now hide around the outside.
Ooh, that's Hoskins needs to make this move stick, otherwise, nope. And now we might be about to watch Klaus run away with it. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, you could see that there then. Hunter Ryan went really defensive into the right-hander, and Klaus spied the opportunities, drove around the outside, and now Hoskins down the inside of turn 1, doesn't quite make it work, nearly into the side of the Ocelot, and that's put now Jean Matson right onto the back of him. And they've got... There's another car in there that... Oh, it's Kovalenko. Kovalenko's just unlapped himself from Halverson.
I can see an accident happening here. This is not Gucci.
Well, I mean, with Kovalenko involved, absolutely.
Wait, an accident in this pack would definitely benefit me.
There's yeah, look at the advantage then. Klaus is already a second up the road from Hunter Ryan.
Yeah, he's shit. I need to stop thinking out loud. Like Ed
Garcia
Sheeran.
pits. Right, so Garcia then made an early stop, didn't he, on the medium tyres because he had that incident. How soon was that before the other medium runners?
I would say laps.
I was going to say 2 or 3 laps. I think we are very much borderline. If they're going to pit, it's going to be on the last lap they do pit.
I'll tell you what, that's somewhat screwed Garcia's race, doesn't it? Not that he's having a particularly good one as it is, but...
Let's say Garcia, the actual legend that was definitely fighting up in the top 10 with his teammate.
Yeah,
sorry, Gabrielli, but
noted.
yikes. We've seen that though. Halverson is consistently throughout their tenure at North Star just had the beating of his teammate. Maybe with the odd fluke from Garcia, but Johann's not really been challenged.
Yes, I didn't hear any of what you said, but yes.
I used the word tenure. I sounded like a grown-up.
And
Sorry,
it worked
I had
very
to
well.
readjust my headphones.
Thanks, Rob. Thank you, Robert. Someone listens and appreciates me.
Well, this is why they leave my microphone open at the end of the race.
Bunsies. And because Bradley just, like, tries to give people the commentator's curse because he wants to win.
No, they've realised that the technical issues we've been having, at least if both of you go, they've taken the very unwise assumption that me commentating is better than nothing.
Well, I mean...
I love how we both had the same reaction. Oh man, I think.
Right, what have we got?
Train for 11.
Klaus has got 18 seconds back to Kanga now.
He has,
Klaus has the pit stop.
if he needs it, which he probably might.
Yeah, well, I'm under the
Lost a
assumption. I'm assuming everyone on the mediums is going to pit again, apart from Nick Addison, who managed to make his first stint so long. Addison could be on for a really good race result here.
Yeah, to be fair,
Thunder's going to have to pit again on the mediums. Dominicali's going to have to pit again. That's going to put Addison, what, 17th? Depending on quite how far behind Vasquez is. Or far ahead, sorry, Vasquez is.
Here we go then. There's Verona's pits.
Yes.
And Vasquez.
Soft runners.
Yeah. So now then, that lifts. That puts Alvarez in the points. If he can.
If they can make it to the end.
To be fair, I think. Also, don't forget Alvarez, Beckenbauer, Kanga, Wagner. They're losing time rapidly. If they get lapped, they aren't going to have to worry about that start.
Well, Kanga and Wagner won't anyway. They're on the hard tyres.
Oh yeah, I forget this. Still.
Yeah, we're only like 3 laps from the end now, aren't we? So Verenas rejoins in 14th then. Unfortunately, we can't see how far behind Wagner he is because
Wagner.
he's been lapped.
Oh, I thought you were saying Wagnery. I was like, what? That's not a name.
No.
Silly Billy. Oh, I would love to get a camera shot of this battle for 10th place.
Well, we're watching Hunter Ryan defending from Will Hoskins at the moment to deal with that one.
We've been watching that for hours.
Matson has pulled away from Halverson a little bit, hasn't he? Or Halverson slipped back a little. Oh, is Halverson stuck behind bloody Kovalenko?
Oh,
Ryan Pitts. Ryan Pitts then.
Bye-bye, Hunter.
So, the first of the medium-tired runners, and Matson follows him in.
Here we go then. So, who's going to follow in? Are the rest of the medium-tired runners going to pit?
Well, they haven't as yet. I suppose the ones we're looking at now are Alvarez and Beckenbauer, isn't it?
Yeah. This is the...
They've gone through.
They've gone through. Now, if they can hang on...
Oh, so they've not quite... They've done Wagner as...
There's Ruiz!
Oh, Christ, yeah, so Ruiz has lapped Wagner. Zvirinas then. That's not Zvirinas, it's Hunter Ryan. Hunter Ryan comes out between Kanga and Wagner, as does John Matson then. Oh, that's not great for Wagner.
I'm physically sweating. I can't even explain to you. This is such a tense end to the race. Not for the lead at all. But there's so many good scraps going on all across the field.
For the lead, Ruiz is 42 seconds clear. I wonder if we're going to see the... what's he got? Another 3 laps? I wonder if we're going to see the largest ever winning margin.
We might, actually.
You're both saying this isn't tense at all. However, I've seen far too many backmarkers go completely right hand down.
Yeah, to be fair, as Ruiz... Right, so that is Ruiz. Oh, Kanga's going to let Ryan through.
Yeah. And here comes Matson as well. He's looking to get a piece of the action.
That could be absolutely crucial because Ryan now has a bit of clear air. As Perez pits now then.
I'm sure we'll see the rest of the medium-type runners in this lap, unless they manage to extend for 1 lap, and then they will make it to the end.
Yeah, Perez pits, Klaas follows him in then, and Will Hoskins is in as well. No, Will Hoskins went through. Will Hoskins carried on.
No way.
Wow.
Are we going to see anyone else go through?
But what's that? So Will Hoskins has just started lap 56, hasn't he? So he's still not on that penultimate lap.
We see Alvarez and Beckenbauer both peel into the pits at the end there. See who wins the battle there, I suppose, as we've got Halverson scrapping out with Wagner right out of the pit lane. Those cold tyres weren't doing him any favours.
Yeah, Wagner's really lost out here, hasn't he?
Oh, 100%.
As Perez rejoins some 10 seconds up the road from Klaas then, which he'd achieved by being ahead of Hunter Ryan earlier on. What's Powers has got 11 seconds back to Perez. That's pretty comfortable, isn't it, for 2 laps?
Yeah, I would say that's a reasonable gap.
As yeah, there we go. So Dominicali pits slightly further back as well. Then that does put Addison indeed up into 17th because Thunder's already made his pit stop. So Franklin, as it stands, also we've not had a retirement. That's quite decent. As it stands, Franklin are going to equal Lucas's best result.
Yeah, actually. Addison's pulled out an absolute...
Oh, Hoskins pits now then.
On the penultimate lap.
It's not, but it's not for him. He's only on lap 56.
Oh, of course.
Isn't it? So Perez goes through then, back up into 4th, and I should imagine Klaas will go through into 5th as well then. And it will be where does Hoskins come out in relation to Hunter Ryan?
Yeah, well there's Ryan.
Who has already been lapped. Ryan will be following Ruiz though. So here we go. Will Hoskins, where does he come back out? That's Ruiz. That's Hunter Ryan. I think Ryan's done it.
Ryan, yeah, sweeps around the outside. Not even sweeps. He just has it before the braking zone. As Halverson is making a move.
Oh,
on
both Matson and Halverson have passed Kanga.
Kanga's dropped a couple of places. I thought he was up in 8th, but I
he
must have been wrong. As now we've got Svirinas looking to maybe take off some points. Obviously, Kanga is their last hope of scoring a single point in this V-Prix. Well,
yeah, what a come down from a win in Japan. Kanga was now 10th in Malaysia. It looks as though he's going to be 10th here in Australia as well.
Yeah, 2 very different drives though. Obviously, Malaysia was fantastic, whereas here, the Lopez's just have been a bit anonymous, really.
Ruiz has lapped everyone outside the top 5.
Oh my goodness!
Brilliant.
Is it?
He might even do Klaas for good measure.
Actually, Ruiz is on the final lap. Everyone else is still sort of toiling around halfway around the race distance. Ruiz is a couple of corners from the end of the race. I suppose this is the kind of domination you were really after, Rob.
A little bit, yeah.
I don't think that's the kind of domination Rob was after.
Wait.
But yeah, Enrique Ruiz has driven an absolutely sublime race from what I've seen. the extra soft tyres were the perfect strategy for him from pole position, and Ruiz has absolutely made them work. Some 3/4 of a minute clear of his teammate. Ruiz wins in Australia, and it's his second win of the season then, second win in 2 races, and it was absolutely comfortable from, well, literally the minute the lights went out. And we now have a tremendous wait for second place, as in fact everyone else behind them is going to finish first. So Ryan does indeed take 6th then, ahead of Hoskins, Matson, Halverson and Kanga round out the points. Zveranas, I think that's really harsh on Zveranas. He drove really well and pulled off some stunning overtakes, but it just wasn't quite enough on those soft tyres. Again, the only driver that seemed to make them work was Adrian Simon, but likewise that was only because of a quick car and clear air. Adrian Simon then comes home second behind his teammate, and it's going to be Nathaniel Powers then who does complete the podium in 3rd place ahead of Perez and Klaas-Van Snelheid rounding out the top 5.
What a race, honestly. Yeah, Zveranas, I mean, he drove fantastically. Ruiz drove in dominant fashion. There were some fantastic performances out there this afternoon.
If we look past the annihilation that was Enrique Ruiz, I think I'd probably list Zveranas as the driver of the day.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Some of those overtakes
getting
he pulled off were brilliant.
A clutch finishing position just from making his tyres go the distance.
Yeah, that's true. Addison as well, actually. A phenomenal job. Some great drives, some not so great drives. I look towards the bottom of the standings and Dmitry Kovalenko. But impressively, all 26 cars finished here in Australia then, and it's Enrique Ruiz who is top of the pile. So there we go then, an absolutely dominant display by Enrique Ruiz. He misses out on the highest ever winning margin in Formula Virtual by 99 hundredths of a second. Yeah, that was it. Adrian Simon finished runner-up then, his first podium of the season, while Nathaniel Powers became the only man other than Ruiz to stand on a podium twice so far this year. Ruiz also took fastest lap from pole position. It was the hat-trick, no retirements in a really quite crazy race, absolutely dominated by tyres. What does that mean for the championship? Well, Ruiz leads. He's now got over a win in hand already after just 3 races. 28 points back to Adrian Simon, who's moved up 4 spots into second. Nathaniel Powers is up to third, while Hunter Ryan's maiden points, he's finally achieved them. Here at his home race, you know, that's quite a nice little thing. Moves himself into the top 10. Johan Halverson as well with his first points of the season, while Takahashi and Kovalenko qualifying has helped them in the championship and also helped their teams. We'll get to that in a second. Let's look at the top of the constructors standings first. Matheson now have 33 points over Downton, First Star absolutely now passed Lopez into third place. They have some 17 points over them. Behind them, Ocelot, Ingram and Phoenix scorers, and Arrow move past AMR into 14th towards the back. But that's all from our race here today in Melbourne. So from me, Lily and Rob, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time for round 4 from Kyalami, South Africa.